Sentiment, a view of or attitude toward a situation or event. An opinion, general feeling or opinion, the expression of a view or desire, especially is formulated for a toast, a feeling or emotion, exaggerated and self-indulgent feelings of tenderness, sadness, or nostalgia. Origin, late Middle English, in the senses, personal experience, and physical feeling, sensation, from Old French, sentiment, from medieval Latin, sentimentum, from Latin, sentire, feel. This definition is from the dictionary provided on Apple computers. The sentiment on this vanity presentation is provided by those that choose to appear. I am Zoil.
I'm Simon Diamond, and this episode is about prioritizing relationships and knowing when to let them go because they're toxic.
I came up with the premise of this episode because I recently decided to cut a family member from the rest of my life. All my life I've been treated as the cursed bastard child, whilst my younger brother was pampered. The final thread was, I was kicked out for being an extra expense. Being very gratuitous to them, we'll say it was about $100 a month for 21 months. And now, for at least the last 3 months, they have been paying $850 plus a month for my brother's and roommate's rent. Due to miseducation and adherence to the appearance of being better than your neighbors rather than actually being better than your neighbors, I was abandoned while sinking, whilst my brother is bilged and sealed. I just feel it's healthier to with as treacherous as the climate that I have to deal with in the pursuit of my happiness, to not carry the extra weight.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I mean, myself being in a program of recovery, I deal on a day-to-day basis with people who are less than psychologically healthy. Again, that's one of the primary premises why I say that I'm the prettiest man alive, is because I have that big of an ego. Notwithstanding the fact that I'm wearing a tetrahydrocannabinol t-shirt, you know. Hey, what can I say? You got to be real to yourself, right? That all said, you know, I'm going to relate this experience. I was within, I'd say, my first 15, 16 months of recovery, I'd say back about 4 or 5 years ago. And I got this phone call saying that this person needed some help way the hell out in Wilsonville. Now, the problem with that, though, is that this was a woman who needed help. And that kind of put me in an oddball predicament because nobody else was willing to help this woman. So I took a woman with me to help this woman. And I learned very, very quickly why they suggest that you don't do something like that. That instance of trying to be helpful ended up being more harmful in the end, because that ended up in a 4-month fling. And the fact that I'm actually able to look at this situation and see what my part in it is very healthy. You know, the way I was able to remove myself from that toxic relationship is I was forced into taking a look at whether or not the relationship that I was in was actually not only selfish, but whether I was doing more harm than good. And I also had to take a look at where my psychological mind state was in as far as trying to help this person. Which leads into the piece that I'm going to perform for you now, which the title is called Shipwrecked, and it's about this situation. Hope you enjoy it.
Shipwrecked. Standing idly by in a candy-coated 3-mast schooner, I see you, floundering in a sea of despair, on a blow-up doll slowly running out of air, in a vortex worthy of Charybdis. I only have life rings littered with glass shards to offer to the drowning. Ineptitude is stale to the taste in a scuba mask too small to fit my halfling face. Hannah Dinn would agree for me to wrestle with this, since not all men can conquer kings, would inevitably become a force of habit. Praying to those who preceded me, asking for guidance, moaning to God for peace, yelping for an orgasm of an answer, only to be deafened by a lightning-streaked silence. The expert professional, quizzically abashed by the apathy of those who had ignored you, confused by the audacity of myself. If only I had a harpoon gun to put you out of your misery. If only Moby Dick were here to save you. On a yacht of grandeur, sipping Perrier, nibbling on feta cheese and salmon, on the weather deck of a ship too good to sail on salty waters, lazily playing shuffleboard, we muse gingerly over who should bring you aboard. You entertain us as Odysseus at war with Scylla, armed only with your bare hands and a loincloth made of sandpaper to cover your insecurities. You beg from me a weapon to defend yourself with, and all that I have are an arsenal of double-edged swords.
I have yet to write an artistic expression of my recent decision, but here is a song about knowing when to end a romance.
We can no longer disregard her redundant censoring. And now, cross to right by everybody. He lost his tolerance for being told no.
Ultimately, in my opinion, an idea is a lot easier to change than a belief. Beliefs have a tendency to get ingrained within us, and it's as a result that we sometimes end up having our ego screw us over in the end.
One's health is the most important. Ideals only imprison you. How important relationships are is solely prioritized by your choice.
That's the time that you have with us this week. Tune in next time for the next episode of Sentiment.
If you have a sentiment that you'd like to express about this particular episode, you can contact us at this email address.